Hey everyone in the Facebook world, this is Rebekah with the Tailored Realty team here to talk to you about a market update. So there's been some major changes to our market over the last 30 days or so. One of the biggest changes that we've seen is that the market has increased pretty drastically. So depending on which suburb you're in, the market may have increased anywhere from 10 to 15%. And what's unique about real estate is that it's not a gradual increase that we're seeing throughout the months. It's really more of a step up that we're seeing. So the start of our spring market is really when we start seeing that our prices have gone up. So again, depending on which suburb you've been living in, or if you're in the city or wherever you are, it's anywhere from 10 to 15% that we're seeing this year versus last year pricing. Now, there's a lot of naysayers that are out there saying, oh, well, what if the market crashes? What if something happens with our real estate market just overall? I hear that just all the time. Well, we've been hearing this now for 8 years since we've actually been in business, that people are waiting for the market to crash, and still, knock on wood, no signs of that happening yet. But just keep this in mind, so just kind of bear with me for one moment here. So let's just say that you're looking at a $300,000 house today, and you're saying, I'm not going to pull the trigger today because housing prices are so high, and I think that housing prices are going to drop 10%. Well, with the Feds raising the interest rates, which they are doing that's public knowledge that is happening. So interest rates have increased this year versus last year. The actual price of that $300,000 house, even if it were to drop 10% because the housing market were to fall, your actual payment would go up 13% because of the increase in the interest rate that we saw this year versus last year, and we're expecting to see again this year. So a little bit of food for thought for all of you that are thinking that the market is going to adjust and the market is going to stop. That is really what we're seeing, is that because of the interest rates, you would actually be paying more money if you were to wait on your home search and you weren't purchasing now. So make sure that you're striking while the iron is hot, because interest rates do play they play a major factor in what your overall payment is. So with the Twin Cities market, so inventory is actually down 20% this year versus last year. Housing prices are up 10 to 15% this year versus last year. So as a buyer, what this really means is that you've got to be really prepared and aggressive when you get out there and you start looking for your house. So that means that as soon as a property hits the market, you should really be prepared to go and take a look at that property that day or the next day. Oftentimes buyers say, hey, Rebekah, can I go take a look at this property next Wednesday? Well, sorry, it's probably going to be gone. But it's Friday right now, so that's a whole 5 days away. So make sure that you're striking while the iron is hot. So if you see a house that you want to see, give us a call. We'll make sure that we get you in there, because we're never going to be the reason why you don't get a house. The second thing is that be prepared to be competitive with other offers. So you might have a great offer, or at least you might think that it's a good offer at list price. But you might be competing with other buyers in that area, so make sure you're relying on your agent to help you frame an offer so that it is competitive enough so that it can be accepted by a seller. So be prepared for those multiple offer situations, and the days of being able to haggle on your home price, especially the first weekend that it's on the market, those are pretty much long gone. So be aggressive with your offer upfront, so that you're not screwing around with your time, and that you're really putting your best foot forward so that you can get the house that you really want. As a seller, it might seem like it's a dream to sell in this type of market, but make sure that you're putting yourself in the best possible light that you can. So as a seller, make sure that you're not overpricing your house. I know that it can seem like, hey, we've had a 10 to 15% increase. There's 20% less inventory this year versus last year. That all may be the case, but houses that overprice themselves, they still sit on the market for much longer, and they end up selling for a lot less than they could have if they had actually priced themselves correctly in the first place. So get those buyers to drive the price of your house up rather than you saying this is what the price is. So make sure that you're listening to your agent. This is one of the things that we do, is we really analyze what the market is to make sure that we're avoiding any pitfalls. So make sure you're doing that. Make your house super easy to show. When you have a lot of buyers that are coming in, buyers are looking for, how do I get in there in the easiest way possible? So you want to make sure that you're not putting too many limitations on the buyers, because if you're putting limitations on the buyers, then that means that you're probably going to miss out on those buyers. Oftentimes sellers will say, hey, Rebekah, well, if they were serious, they'll probably just go ahead and reschedule that showing for a different time. That may not be the case. There's buyers are having to be aggressive with their offers. They're having to make decisions rather quickly. So if you deny them a showing right now, then that may mean that you're not going to get a second chance at that buyer. So make yourself as accessible as possible so that buyers can get in there and they can make their decisions and they can really decide if your house is the right house for them. And then just make sure you're putting your house in the best possible light. I toured a house yesterday that was filthy. That was disgusting. The sellers did not do themselves any justice whatsoever, because that house was actually a really nice house, but quite honestly, my buyer couldn't get over the disgust of, walking around the house and having our socks be black. It was gross. So don't do that. Don't be that seller that makes your house gross. Make sure that you're that person that is putting your house in the best possible light. Think of it in saying, if you were hosting a family reunion and you had all these out of town family members, how would you want them to perceive your house? So that's one of the things we offer as well. We go around your house. We help you help yourself to get your house in the best possible light. So that's really it for the Twin Cities market update. So make sure that if you're thinking about buying or selling this year, that you reach out to us. We've got all kinds of tips and tricks up our sleeves if you are a buyer or a seller. Reach out to us at team@TAYLORedRealtyTeam.com if you have any questions or if you're thinking about buying or selling this year. That's all I have for you today. Thank you and have a great one.